Hey guys, when I was in that process of journaling for over 3 years, wanting to learn the how and why of all that I am and how I interact, I journaled a lot of my experiences. And what I found is that over all the years of counseling and all the books I read, whether it was different attachment styles, the inner child, codependency, narcissism, and so on, didn't matter how much I did for the sake of the relationship. Although I was learning a lot. That's one of the things I found out about myself is I was always trying to improve. But the thing I would ultimately learn about midway toward the end of that journaling is that you can't change the narcissist, and the narcissist will never change. They won't. Now, a lot of people will have some things they can work on. And in a healthy relationship, you communicate, you have good conflict resolution, you figure things out. You kind of grow together to be one, have that synergistic relationship. But you're not going to have that when you have two people that have some unhealthy tendencies. Okay? With those type of people, you're just become managers of dysfunction. Okay? Now what happens over time, especially with a narcissist, it just gets worse and worse and worse. With my covert narcissist I was married to for 22 years plus, it started off with the silent treatment. First few nights that this started exhibited and that behavior was exhibited, she'd go to sleep with no problems. I'm sitting there going, wow, I'm trying to resolve this issue. What's going on? And then it turned into months and then years. That's emotional abuse. That's their number one tactic. A lot of manipulation. Reactive abuse. They know every vulnerability you have. It's said, and I believe, and I know this to be true. Behind every closed door of every marriage, you will see the worst and the best of every individual. With a narcissist, you'll see them treat everyone really sweet outside that door. Behind the doors, that's where you're on the other side of all that they will unleash on you. There's never a sincere apology. There's no accountability. They're never wrong. That's the narcissist. They'll belittle you, use sarcasm, and they'll make you feel like you're the crazy one. And believe me, you'll do everything you can to give more and try harder. Love them double, love them triple. And they don't do anything in return. They manipulate the counseling. That's what my narcissist did. They went to a few sessions alone to set the narrative so that by the time it was my turn, I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll join in. I'm ready. This is great. Then you feel like, wow, they're giving me all the advice. I'm doing it. And it must have been my fault all along. But it wasn't. The blessing is I learned a lot of ways to improve a relationship. But the best book, the best videos, the best study you can do is learn to identify the narcissist. If your narcissist has all the clear markers, and there's plenty of them you can look into and research it, run. It's the only way you can save yourself and get out. Okay? Because let me tell you what all those books taught me how to do. Because the counseling industry is way behind on narcissism. They tiptoe around it. You won't hear those terms come up in any sessions. You just don't. But all that, along with those books, all it taught me was how to sleep with the enemy. And then it'll take you years before you realize they're the enemy. And then it's too late. And you've wasted a lot of your life being with the enemy. Identify the narcissist. Understand the narcissist. And understand they're not ever going to change. And when you understand that, that's when you can start figuring out a way to get out, which I call it escape. Because is there any other way to look at that? So, for me, you have to understand this. If you're with a narcissist, there's some unhealthy tendencies with your own self. A counselor taught me years ago Unhealthy people attract unhealthy people. If they're a narcissist, you have unhealthy tendencies. Typically, someone like me who's codependent, big time giver, a lot of insecurities didn't realize I had. But as soon as you start to improve, as soon as you start get healthier, that's when you change your trajectory. I will submit to you. I don't think a codependent could ever get to a point of full recovery. They may heal from a trauma bond, but they're always going to contend with that inner child that they're still parenting. And there's a reparenting. There's a lot of stuff on the internet about that. But take comfort that as you start to get better, start to understand the tendencies that you have and what they attract to, you're changing the trajectory of your entire life. And to me, that's healing.